Good morning. I'm sorry, I'm just a few little minutes late. There was something going on with my connections. Anyway, here I am, and we continue with our value series. And today we're taking the next step. My purpose at My Home Biz Tips is to inspire, empower, and support home-based business owners. And the reason I do that is because when you simplify your systems and you set things up that work simply and easily and are automated to some degree, life becomes easy. Stress is reduced and you have energy and enthusiasm to carry on. Otherwise, you tend to get completely overwhelmed. And then you know what happens? We give up. We stop. The statistics on people working from home, keeping their businesses going, or even the statistics just on small businesses surviving are not great. It's really important to have good systems in place. So I'm Andrea Kuchin. You have reached me at, where are we? Or I am at, here's my email address, My Home Biz Tips, right? We're broadcasting into our Facebook group, Gain and Retain Clients, and onto our YouTube channel, and soon on LinkedIn Live as well. Had a bit of a hiccup with that this morning, so we're not doing it, but that's what we normally do. You can also reach me on 858-252-1190, 858-252-1190. Here you can find some more information about exactly what I do and how I help business owners. My Home Biz Tips /Andrea Kuchin, myhomebiz.tips /Andrea Kuchin. And you can book an appointment with me here, calendly.com, Andrea Kuchin. And now we'll go back to my name and we won't change anything again later on, because I'm actually going to show you stuff today which I don't normally share, but I feel compelled to, because last week we talked about tracking habits in order to change them. And I gave you a lot of information. And now I'm going to make that information kind of make more sense, because I'm going to show you how I do things. This is a traveler's notebook. It's a size based on some notebooks that I bought. These pretty little notebooks here that I bought in a store called Daiso, which is available in many places in the States. Now, these little notebooks are a strange shape because they're particularly tall and narrow, right? This is it. So I made this traveler's notebook. It's not the first one I've made. I've made several out of leather that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I lined it with fabric to give it a bit more strength because it's not thick leather. And then I created a series of notebooks to go inside it, and I'm going to show you those today. I have 3 different notebooks, as you can see here. I've got months, weeks, and days. Okay. When I started doing months, weeks, and days, it drove me potty because I couldn't actually quite understand how to do it. But I saw that other people were doing it that way. Other business owners who were talking about their businesses and how they were making them grow, they were doing it that way. And my mind said, if they're doing it that way and they're succeeding, you do it the same way, you're more likely to be successful. The covers of these little notebooks that I make, these pretty designs here, actually come from a book of, what's it called? Now my picture's blocked. Sorry, my screen froze for a minute. But this paper is slightly thicker than ordinary paper, and it came from a book of adult colouring in, and I'm only using it because the paper is slightly thicker than normal. Okay, so I'm going to go to April of next year because I don't actually have anything in. I make my notebooks 4 months at a time. And when one is full, I throw it out, or I take it out of the book and I put the next one in. And I've usually got 3 books together. So I've got a whole year, but I'm not carrying, I mean, normally if you have a planner by October, most of it's full and you don't need it anymore, but you've only got 2 months ahead. So you need to be carrying around 2 planners. I avoid all that by having my 4-month at a time books. So anyway, I'm going to show you my month for April. Now, here's my month for April, right? I have a little square for each day. These numbers up at the top correspond to the number of the week. And you can get those numbers from Google or from any other calendar. I like squares. These are about 4 millimeter. And I like my background to be squared. I don't know. And then I've got this blank space here and this blank space on the other side here. This isn't always, I don't always have quite that much space because there are occasionally days along here. But I don't like pages to be different for different months. So this is, now I color code. Show you September quickly. Shall I? No, because I wasn't color coding properly then. So I color code. So I have a color for work, a color for personal, a color for events for my daughter. I have a color for events for my husband, just in case I need to know, for example, that he's going to be out, because we share a car. So I won't be making any appointments to be out of the house at the time that he's out of the house, because I won't be able to get there. Right. So this is April, right? It's blank because I haven't filled anything in yet. Not even the birthdays. I will do that soon. Okay. So this might be going backwards. Every month has 2 pages, which is why I do put the tabs in for the months, because it does help find the correct page. So this is my next page, and it goes sideways. Along here are the days of the month, starting with 1 and finishing, depending on how many there are 31 spaces. The gray ones are the weekends. And down here are the activities that I measure and the totals at the bottom. Again, these are 4 millimeter squares, so these squares are tiny. I'll tell you what I'm measuring. Did I turn my light out at 10 p.m.? I'm supposed to go to bed at 10 p.m. And because that's a complicated issue, in other words, there's a big difference between getting to bed by 10:30 and getting to bed at 12:30, for example. So I have a code which I've actually written down the side here, sideways, and I'll read you what that says. That actually says, if I go to bed at midnight or afterwards, I get no points. 11:30 gives me 1 point. 11 o'clock gives me 2 points. 10:30 gives me 3 points. 10 o'clock gives me 4 points. And I even give myself bonuses for 9:30 or even 9 o'clock, which I sometimes am able to do at weekends, because I can always do things tomorrow rather than having to get them done tonight. So that's my code for that. So I know what numbers to put in. Then I've got the number of hours I slept. Obviously, I'm counting how many of that. Mood. I give myself points for the mood I'm in. Then I've got things like, did I meditate? Did I take my supplements? Did I drink water, exercise, not have sugar, etc., etc., etc. These are personal things. Then I have how many hours did I actually work on my business? In other words, when I was at my computer fiddling around, was I actually doing activities that would generate income, or was I just fiddling around doing background stuff? Because I measure how many hours. How many cards did I send out? You might know that my main business is a greeting card business. Reach out to me if you want more information on that, or go to My Home Biz Tips, Andrea Kuchin, and you'll get a breakdown of all the different products and services I offer there, and you'll find out what the greeting cards are about. I count how many I sent out. If I'm not sending cards out to people, I'm not being the product of my product. I can't sell greeting cards telling people how important they are and not do it myself. So I count how many I send up. I count my follow-up hour. Did I do a full hour or not? How many touches did I make? In other words, how many people did I connect with? Not just, on Facebook or something, but actually start a communication with. How many signups have I got? How many new customers did I get in one or other of my businesses? How many people subscribed to my email list? All that kind of stuff. Facebook activity, LinkedIn activity, Instagram, Pinterest, other connections, work I did for clients, different clients, how many hours I spent doing those things, and then stuff for the house, stuff to do with cleaning the house, tidying the house. Did I spend a little bit of time on this? Did I spend a bit of time on that? Did I support my daughter with her homework? It doesn't matter what it is. And if doing this for business seems a bit overwhelming, don't. Just do it for your personal stuff. Do it for your weight loss stuff. How much do I weigh? Do not weigh yourself every day. That's just a little tip from me. Not that I know anything about it, but I did find when I was in the process myself, which I still am really, that measuring my weight every day didn't help at all. And I measure it at the same time every day, always in the morning. But you don't have to write a number in every single day. You can use that number separately from the others, or just do it at weekends, because your weekend numbers are going to be different, hopefully, because you're not going to be spending as many hours working at the weekend as you would other times. So that's what I do for that particular number. Anyway, as I go through my day, I mark the number in, or I look at it at the end of the day, because I actually log it somewhere else. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I put the number in, and then I total it at the bottom, and then I can see each day, am I doing better or worse than I did the day before? This is very black and white, and I know that there are probably gray areas, but it helps me keep track, because I always want to be doing at least as well as the day before. Better, preferably. Right, so that's my month's books. Now, in my week books, right, so that's the end of the month book. This is the week book, 13 weeks. That's all I have. That's 3 months. Okay, and again, I put a new book in before the old ones run out. Let's see if I can find a blank page. Okay, so this is the week of the 29th of November. This was a book with other dates in. Now, all I've got is my days of the week with the date, and I write the date in by hand on these. I don't do them because I print them so much more often than the other ones. And I have 2 sides to that page, right? And the way that it works is this. On this side, I'll put my timed appointments. I never have that many appointments, right? And I sort of figure out this would be the morning, lunchtime, the afternoon. So I put my timed appointments here, and here I put the things that need to get done on that page. And I'll go through the week before. So I'll go into my month, right? I'll go into my month, and I'll see if I've written myself any notes to make sure that I do a certain thing on a certain day, right? Something that could be tracked like this, for example, would be paying bills or sending emails, or it could be reminders for birthdays, because I like sending cards out for birthdays, that sort of thing. That would all be in here, right? So that's the first thing. Then I go to my weeks, as I showed you, and I have my tracking here, and I just check that it's done. That's not enough for me, actually. I like to really cross it out so that it shows up better. So that's what I do. And here you can number them if you want to, whatever. You can use this however you like, or one could use it however I wanted. Then I go to daily pages here, my daily pages, and I'll show you an empty daily page. This gets much more complicated. This is where I get some of the numbers that I put into the the tracking sheet on my months. Okay, so where was that again? I call this my activity tracker. Okay, so the figures I get for the activity tracker, I actually put onto this page here. This is my daily page. So this is how it works. On this side, I have, in the morning I prepare, and in the afternoon I review. And this is my morning, and this is my afternoon, right? Along here, I have my timed events. That's why the box is bigger. I time those. And these are notes or to-do list, something like that. And here I have the things I have to remember to do, which I might forget. So I like to check them off. They are right from the very beginning. Different supplements I need to remember, invoices I might need to do, email replies in different email accounts. Sometimes I forget to check other accounts, checking my different social media, checking different communication channels I've got with different clients or assistants. Like some of my clients use Asana, some of them use Slack. If I don't write it down and make sure that I check everything, I might forget because I might get engrossed in something. Now, this isn't because, you know, I'm getting a little bit older and I don't remember things as well. This has been a constant thing with me always, because I like my mind to be clear of having to remember to do menial things so that it can be creative and come up with brilliant ideas and design things and, you know, do stuff, that I can have fun with what's going on in my mind, right? Not because I don't want to be using my mind to have to store information like don't forget to check Facebook or don't forget to check LinkedIn or whatever it is, right? Your reminders for birthdays and your send out cards account. There's so much stuff that I don't even have to think about whether I can remember to do it or not, because it's all on here reminding me. And I just check it off or cross through it. I could use the check mark for something else. I could use the check mark for, you know, have I done this? It's actually got an asterisk written on it rather than a check mark. But anyway, or I could put something in there that suggests that I've moved something to the next day, or I don't know, whatever. There are loads of different ways of using it. On this side, I write my affirmation for the day. I write my intentions for the day, and I write the things I want to focus on for the day. Now, it's taken me a long time to figure out which are the three things that I need. And intention and focus is different, because the intention is more about what you hope to achieve, and focus is more about what project will you be on, or what do you have to bear in mind while doing everything. And then I check my water intake and breathe. Now that means, that's a key word for me. It means, have I taken a bit of time out just to stop and breathe deeply for a moment, because that I found has helped me reduce stress. But like everything, I forget to do it. So I've actually got it on here. It's like, oh yeah, I need to do that again. And just 3 times in the morning and 3 times in the evening, and then I'll mark it off. And then I get on with my day. So I do this, and then I get on with what's on here. And then at the end of the day, which could be sleep time, or it could be just when I've finished in my working in my office, I then go through here. And this is equally important. My wins, what am I proud of? And I write it down. My lessons, what could I have done better? And I write it down. And gratitude, what am I grateful for today? Right? What am I grateful for today? And again, at the bottom here for the afternoon section, I've got my breathe and my water. Now, those are ideals. Breathe 6 times a day. Sounds silly, doesn't it? And drink 8 glasses a day. It could be anything. It could be a herbal tea. I don't know. That depends. And it might not be relevant to you, right? The reason I'm talking about you as well as me is I'm looking for people to test these out. I want to know whether I've actually got it right. And also I want to know how workable other people think this not silly, but this size of notebook is. I don't know if it matches the actual Midori company's size, because I know that there's a company that used to be called Midori and is now called Traveler's Notebook. It's original. And they made the first Traveler's Notebooks. And since then, I was going to say hundreds, but that's probably not true. Dozens of companies have come up and they've copied them, right? There's Chic Sparrow, there's Foxy Fix or something like that. There's, I don't know, dozens of them. And you look on YouTube, you'll see there are other people making their own as well. Anyway, I don't know what size the books are. I made this one that size simply because of the notebooks that I got in Daiso, which are just lined. They're just lined. They're wide lined, actually, which is a bit bigger than for me. And I kind of use that like a bullet journal. If I need to take a note that is going to last me longer than a day or a week or a month, or isn't going to fit into the other pages I've got, it's just there as a kind of a backup. And then in the middle, I've also got a sort of sticky note thing that I just keep in here. Okay. And then I've got all sorts of other stuff. Irrelevant. That's sort of, it's almost a hobby for me creating stuff like this, which is kind of convenient because it meant that it wasn't so challenging for me to create the pages. But, and this is the silly thing, it is just as challenging for me to use them as it probably is for anybody else to get into the habit of using them. I have to remind myself to do it, but that's the only thing I have to remind myself, right? I don't have to remind myself to do all the other things. And I don't let myself get distracted during my working day, except for my little periods of rest time where I'll breathe for a bit, then I'll take the dog out. I'm looking at her here, fast asleep. Then I'll take the dog out for a little bit. We'll go for a run, throw balls around outside for a bit, and then come back in again. And then I might make a cup of tea, and while the kettle's boiling, I might scroll and be distracted. I'm not actually sitting at my desk, right? I'm having a break. Then when I get back to my desk, I'm back in my focus on whatever it is that I want to do. So if I've got lists, things are written down on, I just, yep, done that, done that, done that, done that. It makes life so much easier. I mean, really, it makes life so much easier. The important thing that all these systems do is remove stress. And I cannot stress enough, excuse the pun, how important it is to free yourself from the stuff that's going on in here, right? The reason some people don't sleep is because their minds never stop. That is because their minds are trying to hold more information than they were designed to hold. For example, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do the other. Have you checked this? Have you checked the other? Did you check that you know, you take an item back to a store, you need to check the bank account to make sure that the refund came through. All those silly little things, if you write them down, you don't have to think about it. Now, this is with me everywhere I go, always. In the old days, well, not in the old days, not that old, but a long time ago, I used to have a Palm Pilot that I used to keep by my bed because the Palm Pilot didn't have a signal, a phone signal associated with it. It was an electronic device, but when it was off, it was off. And then if I woke up in the middle of the night, I could write a note without having to turn the light on that would kind of wake me up too much and wake my husband up as well. Because I didn't want to wake anybody up. And I don't believe, or we don't believe in having electronic stuff in the bedroom as much as possible. So we don't have our phones up there or our iPads up there or anything like that because they pick up signals even when they're off all the time. And we don't want that. We switch our Wi-Fi off at night in order to be able to sleep more soundly. Yes, my husband is a health practitioner. So he's, you know, very conscious about these things. Now I don't have my phone in my room, But I have this, and I have a little night light, a little torch, which is just enough for me to write down a little note somewhere. I also, just in case I forget this, have a tiny little scratch pad with tear off pages. I could use sticky notes. I probably will when this scratch pad runs out, which is happening quite soon. And I'll write a note and then I'll tear it off and bring it down with me in the morning, put it on my desk, make sure it gets handled. So I've set up systems that back up my systems. I've got a little notebook in the car. I've got a little notebook that lives in my handbag. Again, tear off pages in case for some reason I forget this or I rush out. Also on my phone, I'm using Google Keep and Google Tasks. So I'm backing up my backup of my backup, because it's really important to me not to have to be thinking or worrying about these things. And you don't realize how much mental energy that takes up until you stop doing it. I had no idea how much mental energy I was using up trying to remember little things in the background until I got my system set up. And it's like, wow, that makes a huge difference. I challenge you to doing the same thing. And I want to know what results you got. Seriously, I really would love to hear from you. Is it just me that felt that relief, or have others experienced it? If you've started this already, or if you're an absolute genius at it, and there's a good chance you're way more efficient than I am. You know, life is a learning curve. I'm still learning every day. Let me know what your experience was. And if you haven't started, please start. And if you feel that you would need support or help, rewind this video or watch the replay. Find it on YouTube, because all my contact information is there. Go to the website, myhomebiz.tips. It's up there. My home. Gosh, I can't move my finger properly. Biz.tips. See? myhomebiz.tips. Okay, go there. That's where you can reach out to me and connect with me, because I'm very happy to spend a little time brainstorming this with you. And if you ask me nicely, I will send you PDFs of these pages so that you can print them out. Ooh. I'm thinking of putting them on Etsy in a shop, actually, and selling them on Etsy, because I've used them for myself. I've given them to some of my clients who've asked for them, who didn't have a system already. I have researched these for years. I've been making planner pages pretty much since I was in my teens. I was going to give you dates, but I'm not going to. Since I was in my teens, partly because it's fun and I love being creative like that. There's lots of other creative stuff I do as well, but that's something I enjoy. Partly because the value that it creates when it's being used efficiently is immeasurable. So let's recap. Last week, we talked about figuring out what your income generating activities are, or what the important activities for you are in your life. Exercise, food intake, things you're not supposed to be eating. If you're trying to give up drinking, that might be a thing. Or if you're trying to focus more on, weight loss, or reading more books, or spending more time with your family, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, whatever habit it is you're trying to change, have a system that you can log it. And not just the fact that you did it, but to what degree you did it, so that you can see if it's getting better every day. Because if you're not improving, you're standing still. And if you're standing still, you're not actually standing still. In reality, you're going backwards. I know that sounds really daft, but treading water actually isn't going to get you anywhere. If you think of shipwrecks, I know, crazy subject, not a good one, but you get the picture, right? You're gonna live if you tread water, but only if somebody rescues you. Whereas if you swim, you could actually get to the shore yourself. Okay, not a great analogy because you might be so far away from the shore you don't even know where it is. But you know what I mean? The idea is do as much as you can to improve your condition and your life will be better. It's as simple as that. These things, these tools I've talked about, the things I've shown you today in my little notebook, my little traveler's notebook, will help you to get a system in place to remind you of the things you need to do to make sure that you're doing the things that are most important as early and as quickly as possible in your day, so that you can then go and have fun and be creative, or play with your kids, or roll in the sand with your dog, or whatever it is that you want to do, or lie in the sun in the middle of October. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And hopefully very soon we'll be able to actually do this on LinkedIn as well. Because they have given me permission, but somehow I'd lost the link. So I'm going to say goodbye. And I look forward to talking to you again next week. You know where to find me in the meantime. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.